Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unpopular Reviews, Dark Side of the Ring edition. I'm one of your hosts, Katrina Storm, and I have my two fabulous co-hosts with me, starting with Stan, Sexy D'coy in the house. How are
Hey,
you?
what up, what up, what up? We all right. We all right in the building. Your boy Stanley A. Smith is taking the night off. I sent that nigga away. We gonna chill out for a minute. We gonna get it popping right now. That's what it is.
And bringing in Shanty's Miss Hearts. Come on in, Shanty's. Come on in. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Y'all gonna be mad. The bullshit's starting already. I can't hear you, Sexy D'coy.
are you the only one?
I
Damn.
can only look at you.
Really?
Lord.
That sucks.
All right, hold on. Let me bring you back in.
Taking me out. Taking me out don't
How
work.
about
You gotta take yourself.
now?
Say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I can hear you now.
All right, good.
So, how you guys feel about this episode?
I feel like Scooby-Doo episode. Who
Dude,
did it? Who's the murderer? Could it be? It just felt like a Scooby-Doo.
This is messed up, guys. This is messed up. This is messed up. This is the second time that we've been here in the last like 2 weeks. All right, all right. I don't like this. I don't like this. We're going on a trend here of like these murders in wrestling. What's going on? What's going on here? Now
I
it's
mean, it
Dino
is the
Bravo.
dark side.
Huh?
It is dark side of the ring.
Dark side, man. Listen. We're gonna talk about Dino because Dino, unlike Nancy, you know what I'm saying, and Nancy, or Dino was actually a professional wrestler that was.
This is the first murder of this season that was an actual wrestler dying.
Yeah. He was an actual guy that was in the ring.
I mean,
Star.
Bart Gunn's career was murdered.
I mean, Bart Gunn was damn near murdered.
Just about. His head almost is not clear off his shoulders.
Yeah, but my man Dino Bravo, crazy popular up in the Canadian level. You know what I'm saying? Up in
Montreal, Quebec.
our northern brothers and sisters upstairs. Some would even they even went as far as describing him as the Canadian Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get my notes here. Hold on there, because I took some time here with old Dino here. I keep wanting to call him Bruno. So I call him Bruno during the outcast of this. My apologies.
I just want everybody to know. Forget it. It
And
wasn't me. I was gonna say
all
tonight, so I gotta shut up.
right.
Too
Anyway,
early in the show to start my shit, so I'm gonna not. Gonna not tonight.
So here's the thing. He's running around in Canada.
Okay.
And he's a pretty big deal up there.
Big deal.
Like he used to wrestle with the likes of the great Haku. The Rougeau brothers was in that picture. Martel. All the Canadian guys that you would later on see in the WWE. He pretty much had run-ins with them and had successful programs with them.
He was pretty much the promoter.
Dino. But like so many others before him, my man Dino, he finally makes the jump. He finally sells out, as they would say. He sold his soul. So one Vince McMahon. Jesus. I just feel like everything always goes bad from here,
Can I interject? Because you skipped a lot.
Because you're not saying nothing, yo. Come on. Let him know.
Sorry. I was just sharing the show so our viewers can know we're on.
Jeez.
Oh, okay. So, pretty much what Dino was the top star of international wrestling. That was the biggest promotion in Montreal. or the biggest promotion in Quebec. Quebec. Why I can't speak. Sorry. Him, Tony Mule, and Gino Brinto or Brino. Italian names. Brito were the co-owners of it. They also were wrestlers, except for Tony. Gino was his tag team partner. Dino was the booker. He booked himself as the top guy. Every guy that came in, he beat first, as Jacques Rougeau said. He was so big in Quebec that Vince McMahon pulled a match between him and Hogan because he feared that Dino will be more popular than Hulk Hogan, just to speak on how big Dino was in Quebec. By the end of 1986, Vince pretty much poached all the top stars. Again, that's the Andre the Giants, that's the Jacques and Raymond Rougeaus, that's Haku, or King Tonga. That's who else did he poach?
Haku was the
Rick Martel
man.
said, right?
Ah.
So by 1986, Dino was stuck between going to Vince or trying to be a competitor with Vince, and we all know how that kind of goes.
How it always goes when it's Vince.
Ah!
So and it pretty much, this is what Vince was trying to do. Like, okay, Dino's more popular than Hulk. Well, I guess we got to put him out of business now, right? Vince offered him a guaranteed contract around $300,000, and this is in '86 as well. And then this is where you are at. Now, do you want to add anything else before I continue? Sexy D'coy?
No. Katrina, wait, please tell us something about this man. Because there's more to him than his death, and that's what we're really here for. But there's more to this man.
It's a lot to him.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It's like I was saying before we got on to Stan that it kind of sucked that they didn't put so much emphasis on his career. It was like they jumped really quick to his like decline. It's not decline necessarily wrestling, just his life. I want to say lifestyle decline. And then he died, and like how he died, and it was just like, oh, all right, well, why I'm not gonna sit here and say I was like I knew much of Dino because I didn't. I did have my thoughts as far as the whole him being more popular than Hulk Hogan, because it was just like, okay, but it's Canada, and you have to sometimes take into consideration like if how fans are when it's like they're people from there, where they're from. I feel like especially Canadians, how they still with Bret Hart, or how they are about Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, like that the over like let me support this person. I felt like it shouldn't have been where he kind of was like losing matches, because they kept showing clips of him losing in WWE, and I hated that so much that's all they showed, like how he was with Jimmy Hart, but they kept the clips of his matches was a lot of him just being pinned, and I'm just like, all right, y'all didn't have to. Y'all telling me there's not one match y'all could have put on this show that would have showcased what he was good at? Like, yeah, he had the formula, and let's be real, a lot of big guy wrestlers have this very specific formula when they wrestle. So that's not like that out of the box, but it was just crazy that that's all they kept showing. I was just a little like annoyed by that, because it was like, you're telling me that's all he was good for in WWE was to lose?
As far as WWE goes, yeah, that's all he was worth to them. Like, by the time he got there, he wasn't being built as this Canadian hero or this he didn't even have his world's strongest man really thing. Like, he was kind of like that, but he wasn't in any really position where Vince was gonna be getting behind him, putting money behind him, and really trying to make sure he was a star, make sure he was successful. He wasn't doing that.
Pretty much
that wasn't his intention anyway.
What they did with Sting.
But even worse.
Yeah, because it was intentional. With Sting, it was just like, oh, we don't know how to book him, so you're losing to Triple H first. But with Dino, like I said, they feared that he would be bigger than Hogan. So what they had to do was to make him look worthless in all the eyes of the people who knew him.
Now, was this during the time? Was it during this time that they were supposed to have a match?
It's after that. This is after that.
Yeah.
When he goes in, this is after that.
So
Dino was
when was
mad, and Gino. God,
when,
sorry.
when was the whole Dino and Hogan thing supposed to happen in Canada and they pulled the plug?
I believe 85,
Mm.
and he went 86.
And it was because of the fact that what they thought that Hulk Hogan was too he was too popular to take a risk like that going into Canada, getting booed out the building by
Yeah.
somebody else's babyface.
Yeah, basically.
You know. So uh, uh, uh. after all of that, he finally, and he's the last of his kind to really join the WWF too. He watched everybody else go before him. Everybody,
Mhm.
Rick Martel and the rest of them, they all went over.
He was trying to make it competition. So what Vince did was he brought out all his time. Brought
Wait,
all his
wait, Katrina, talk for a second.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, my bad, because it was like muffled for a minute. I wanted to make sure it was good.
Yeah. So when
But
they brought him in with Jimmy Hart, and he was a proud Italian. So they said, "Hey, dye your hair blonde."
That was kind of like when they were telling, or the
You
wife
remember?
was telling the story, and it was just like, so you just trying to take, like, I'm
Every-
gonna knock you down a peg.
Mhm.
Let's dye your hair. Especially when she was explaining that, his friend was explaining how upset he was that they kind of teased the fact that he didn't really look good with
Yeah.
bleach blonde hair, and that because he was very proud of, he was a proud man, and
Yeah.
that's like an ego thing, like, I this way, this is how I am. So I felt like Vince definitely did that to knock him down a peg. Like, oh, you took your time getting here too. You took your time.
Had to
You trying
buy
to make this
everybody
competition.
for you to
Let's dye
pose.
your hair blonde.
And
hmm,
like Jock said Vince liked to test the guys that stick up to him. So pretty much
I
he
mean,
said you never see an Italian man with blonde hair. And the way they mentioned like how they was joked about, if you know anything about the Rougeau brothers, you know that they are assholes and they are tough. Well, no, Jacques is the asshole. That they are assholes and they are tough. So when they said that they was making fun of him, you can hear Jacques' voice like light up because it was really funny to him.
we'll get into Jacques. Jacques is an asshole. You're right.
Listen,
um, it said that and this is, I guess, minorly important. It said that he signed on a guaranteed downside of on the side of a 300,000 a year.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, what year is this? 1980 what?
It's your, but thanks for saying your.
Yeah. Close, 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 close. He watches.
I got
Yeah.
hold on.
You got to teach.
Your.
appreciate you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for trying. That's all that matters.
Fact. Fact. But yeah. $300,000 guaranteed in your pocket, and that's just on the downside. So that's not even including your contract. Plus, whatever's going on. So how many years did he spend there?
Well, this is
About
like in
what, 3 or 4?
late 86, early 87, and he was gone by 92.
Yeah.
So he was there like what, 5 6 years. So he made about two point something $1 million in his total, right?
Big enough to have a house built in Laval,
All right,
which
and
is
this
the
is
upper scale.
and this is like the late '80s, early '90s, right? So like $2 million could stretch, a little bit, just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more than 2 million now.
Yeah.
And yeah, he like I said, they kept showing clips of him getting jobbed out.
He
You know,
hated that. They felt that and you will hear this a lot with Canadian talent. It diminished his worth, his value. He's losing to the little, pretty much the quote unquote little niggas.
I bet you gonna get murdered. Watch this shit, man. You gonna get murdered walking outside your crib these days, bro.
Listen, I feel like since we
Corona's a
don't
killer.
did it, we don't know who's listening, you know. But
Corona's a killer, ladies and gentlemen. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Yeah. What up?
right. So he hated doing jobs. They paired him with Jimmy Hart, but his broken English kind of really hindered him. And Stan actually watched a promo. Was it last night or this morning?
I watched a promo on that man last night, and I was like, "Damn, Bruno." I almost called him Bruno. Damn, Dino. I was like, "All right." It was messed up because he was clearly and this you see this a lot with WWE today. Like they try to make actors out of athletes, and it was, and they're not necessarily that they try to make him an athlete, but this guy's not a talker. You know, he's not a talker. He's a musclehead. So you put him in front of a camera, he's gonna be awkward. So I'm watching him in there with Mean Gene, and I'm watching Mean Gene kind of try to even lead him through the interview. But but one, the broken English. To me, the broken English wasn't really as much as a problem as it was the lack of eye contact that he had with the camera. He just looked insecure. You like all of his insecurities that they might have tried to highlight in this Dark Side of the Ring episode came through shining to me in that interview, and it crystallized why maybe Vince McMahon didn't see much more value in him than to keep him around for much longer than he did.
Yeah. So with that, let's see. At 92, his contract was coming up on the end. WWE didn't attempt to resign him because they were pretty much gearing up the new generation era. So guys like Dino and all of those guys are on their way out. Pretty much he has this big house, this big car, worried about what he's gonna do next. He looks to his uncle, Vic.
Vic Mensa. No, let me stop.
Caroni.
Vic Caroni. Vic Caroni. Vic Caroni. My man was he was a wrestler his damn self.
Vic Vincent was his wrestling name. He's related to Dino through marrying his aunt, and also he was the leader of the first mafia family in Quebec.
Jesus.
The Caroni family was like very powerful at the time within the in Quebec period, and Dino, through his ties, became an enforcer or like a debt collector.
Can you blame him? Like this guy's what the fuck? Yeah, yo, if you're running a gang, right? And your nephew is fucking Dino Bravo. What you gonna do? You need protection. What you gonna do?
So
he's also related to Matt Caroni. Who's Matt Caroni?
I think it's supposed to be like
Cartoni. I believe it's Cartoni.
That's why I ignored it.
Oh, Matt wow, that's disrespectful. You made me do that.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Wow.
One of those jokes.
I fell right into that.
No, all right. We're gonna ignore it, so then they'll stop.
Oh man. Anyway, that was a good one. I fucked up. Anyway. So yeah, he's a big old debt collector for idiot. Big old debt collector for his uncle Cartoni. And Dino finds a way in the shape of illegal cigarettes. Are we getting into this shit or what now?
Well, you forgot to mention this is the part where they talk about his hot temper and how much of an asshole Jock is. When they was in the bar, and the guy who played for the other Montreal team that Dino didn't like was there, and Dino said, "Hey, look, that's him. He plays for those so and so." And Jock screamed, "That asshole!" So he said something, and he points at him. And he goes up to I think they said something about the hockey player mentioned something about like fake wrestlers or something. So Jacques Rougeau goes up to like swing on him but misses, and the guy's about to lace him up, and then Dino comes and slams his head into his Corvette outside.
So you're telling me this asshole Jacques Rougeau said, "Hey, you asshole fucking hockey player." The hockey player said, "What the fuck you say to me?" And tries to kill Jacques Rougeau, and it's all a setup just so Dino has an excuse to bash his motherfucker's head in.
Oh, he called Dino a phony, yeah.
He called Dino a phony, yeah. They had beef already, right?
They didn't have beef, but he just played for the team that Dino didn't fuck with, so Dino didn't fuck with him,
What did Jacques say to start it off, though?
Huh?
What did Jacques tell him to start it off, though? What popped it off?
Jacques getting up and going to swing on him and
What he
just
say?
Yeah, that's
What he say to him? Though?
he pretty much saying that asshole, being loud and obnoxious.
He said that bullshit. He said hockey.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
bullshit. Yeah.
yeah.
So he was trying to bait him into calling his shit fake, but by calling his shit fake. He was trying to bait him. That didn't fly over my head. Anyway, what happened next?
I feel like Zach is he's that kind of friend and that's like get you some shit and you need the guy to bail you out. Like you're the loudmouth friend who really can't back shit up, but like you're gonna talk shit because your homie is gonna probably kick some ass, so you don't have to really worry about it. He was that friend. He definitely was that friend. Cause I was like, you really didn't have to
So
do
here's the thing about Jacques Rougeau. Jacques could, but like he said, he was 18 and he was drinking. So if he was drunk off his ass, he shouldn't have been starting shit. Yeah. He was drunk off his ass. He shouldn't have really been starting shit, but he was there starting shit. Cause like you hear about the Rougeau brothers, I believe it was Dynamite Kid. Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
So
I
it was
can't wait
from
for whenever
Dynamite.
they do a Dark Side of the Ring on that guy.
It was oh, they probably will. It was
Word.
Dynamite Kid. Dynamite Kid like used to fuck with them. Like the Bulldogs used to really fuck with the Rougeaus. So like they would like do pranks or do little fuck shit. So one time their father sat them down and was like, "You don't let them punk you." So they caught Dynamite in the cafeteria and just like beat his ass. Like they can back it up, but he was drunk. But this is the part where his former tag team partner, the Gino guy, right? He says, if you were to put a gun to his head, he'll say, "Don't point a gun at me unless you shoot me right away because I'm coming." So it's like this is like they it's certain things that kind of like harpers back to like what happened to him. And it's like I don't want to say I love when this happened, but I kind of do. I like when this happens. And
He was
especially
a
when
real
they
one.
make
He was like, "Yo, don't point no gun at me, man. You better shoot me. I'm gonna fuck you up. You realize who I am, what I can do to you?"
and look how they killed
Saying
him.
goes, you
And
never
look
point
how
a
they killed
gun.
him.
You never point a gun you don't intend to use. So that is
Look
the
how they
saying.
killed him. They killed him from behind while he sat in the chair watching a hockey game.
Wait. You forgot about the cigarettes and the Native Americans and the
I
cook
didn't
guy.
forget about it. I'm just like saying, look how they killed him. Look how he was found. Look how his body was positioned.
My computer about to die. Hold up.
He was. It was unopposing. His killers didn't face him.
Jesus.
That was the one thing that when they were saying that he let the person in, but it's like nobody's let a person in. I'm gonna sit in a chair while you standing over me. Even if I didn't have to worry about my life or anything, I don't. It's off when somebody's standing over you and you're like, all right, can you sit? Because it's like, why are you doing that? That's always shifty to me. So it's like, sit. You don't need to be like over me. You don't need to be
They
like
didn't. They
hovering.
didn't
If you're
necessarily
my
talk
friend,
about it.
sit down. Like, don't be standing over me. Don't be. I'm quite sure he knew the person, but I don't think it was something that was like. Again,
Wait.
I feel like if you felt you would, he said that it was said that he told people he was worried about his life. You're not gonna have anybody standing over you. That's like I don't know any paranoid person gonna be like, yeah, it's cool that you stand behind me while I'm like worried about my life. That doesn't even sound
Wait. Hold on. Let's go. Let's scale it back a second. Just a second. Because leading up to this, he went. He had a little bit more of a role. It was more of a role of more than a enforcer role. This guy got involved in transactions. He was,
Yes.
trafficking and selling off illegal cigarettes. And the thing that made him lit with this was that he found himself an exclusive market. He found himself a market where he was able to, in essence, monopolize, and that is the Native Americans.
Yes.
Now,
They were
people,
big wrestling fans.
people. At 24:51, the story gets real, right? So Dino has like a special relationship with the Native Americans because he's the plug for the cigarettes. But at the same time, he's also Dino fucking Bravo. We love this guy. He's a superstar, right? So they only trust Dino. So Dino's making all the money through that. Dino's making so much money through this and the cigarette business in general was just popping at this time, that what is described as a big coke guy by Rick Martel, who declined interview, by the way.
For this.
For
But
this.
they used his shoot interview from 2007.
Remember that, people. It's always on the internet, right? So, according to Rick Martel, a quote big coke guy got involved with Dino. He saw what he was doing and was like, "Yo, let me get on the cigarettes, and I'll let you in on the big coke."
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether Dino had an option to decline or accept, lost on me. Don't know. But apparently he accepts this offer. And so now he's dealing coke and he's dealing cigarettes. And it don't take long for shit to fuck up here.
Yeah.
So now this is where the story really gets fucked up, because now it's split into two kind of routes here. You got the cigarette route and you got the coke route. Which one y'all want to travel down first?
Let's do cigarette. No. Because the cigarettes kind of blend into the coke. So I guess we start with cigarettes and then go to coke.
I mean, there's separate roads that lead into each other, but which one y'all want to go down first? We had to hit them both.
Well, we can do the cigarettes only because, well, kind of what you mentioned before we went on with regards to the stuff in the warehouse. The amount of money he lost that was lost when they confiscated all the cigarettes. Which, listen, and the fact that they said they had surveillance on him, and it kind of, also could allude to the whole, like, well, maybe he said something he probably shouldn't have said.
that wasn't for the cigarettes though. That was for the coke.
Nicotine.
That was for the coke. The warehouse incident. That was for the coke.
The nicotine dream. Oh, wait. Oh, damn. Willie, you might have to change the name after the night, Willie.
I mean, from what I saw, you can rock with that. It's not necessarily about that.
Anywho, more on that later. That might be another
dark side. See all of it.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that might be another episode of Dark Side of the Ring.
It was like
literally Dark Side of the Ring.
Like you didn't see a head or nothing. It was just like shaft and cock ring.
That is the darkest side of the ring. Well, we were just talking about African Americans in wrestling yesterday, but anyway.
Let the church say.
So the Native Americans, right? So the Native Americans, right?
Yeah, he got in with the Indians. So Rick Martel said.
Yeah. Quote Indians. Yeah.
Yeah, I hated that he used that term. It's not the natives.
We're not gonna do that. This guy
Stop doing that. That's so rude. It's like it's not that hard to call people natives. Like I'm Italian and it's Italian all day. Well, call them freaking natives. Call them natives. They're not Indians. Like, Jesus. I'm sorry. That always makes me so bad when people call them.
To get the old people out of their old ways, they still call us niggers sometimes.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. All right. So okay. As far as the cigarette deals, all right. So we'll go down there first. So legend has it, I'm gonna say for everything because this is still an open case, mind you. This is still very much so an open case. Legend has it that a shipment of cigarettes worth about $50,000.
That was cocaine.
That wasn't the cocaine.
They said that was a okay. It probably was.
You want to go down? You want to talk about cocaine? You want to talk about cigarettes?
Say it. You go. I'm not gonna cut you off. Go ahead.
Okay. So about $50,000 of cigarettes is lost in a truck somewhere.
Oh, sorry. I cut you off before I knew you was going. That is
cigarette. I know that. I know.
I apologize. I just get so excited.
Cool. It's cool. So
No.
This $50,000 worth of things goes missing, and later on, it's discovered. I don't know how this was later on discovered. Why 3 days it took for people to find this shit at a murder scene? 3 days after murder, Bruno's body is discovered in his home. Um, they find $55,000 in cash in this man's house, along with a box of fucking cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
It is for that time. 93. It is.
Are you kidding me? Go ahead.
93, 1993. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. You
Listen,
got $50,000 just in your crib, just waiting.
man,
If you do, what are you doing?
yeah, listen.
Like, that's not something people
Clearly,
just have like.
clearly, clearly, Ricky has no problem losing $50,000. So you know what? shout out,
That is
shout out to
definitely a lot of
Ricky.
money to be worried. How
Shout
I
out
feel
to
like
Ricky.
even like 20 G's is enough to be like, okay, what are you doing? Like, where's the money?
I want to be
This
Ricky
is
when
the
I grow up.
mafia we're dealing with.
I want to
Any
be Ricky
amount of
when I
money
grow up.
owed to
Okay.
them is worth killing someone over.
I want to be Ricky when I grow up, man. He said 50,000. That ain't that much to kill somebody.
Yeah, 93. What? That was a lot of money back, especially in 93.
Bro, there's folks out here making $50,000 a year. Like,
What? That's like some people never even get there
boy,
a year. Like
let
that's
you, take, let you take somebody's salary and watch what they do to you. But anyway, they find $50,000 in cash, $55,000 in cash in this man's house 3 days after they find his body. I don't know how that happens, but that's what happens. And so now I'll go down the coke route, because before I go into that, it's going to tie back into the coke. So now with the coke, Dino had just made the deal with the quote big coke guy, and not long after this, a huge shipment worth $400,000 is placed in an undisclosed warehouse.
And it was considered Dino's
that
warehouse.
happened to
It was
be
considered Dino's warehouse. So much.
undisclosed.
People take people's lives over fucking sneakers.
Ricky, you're a kind soul, bro. Don't ever lose that. You don't ever lose that.
I mean, people with
A
common
woman
sense
lost her life
agree.
and she ain't give her
Yeah,
number to a
Like,
nigga.
we
yeah.
common sense people agree, but listen, people
You're not
will kill
dealing with common
somebody
sense.
over $100. Like,
We're talking about a man. We're talking about a man that was found dead in his armchair with
shot
with
11
seven
times.
seven bullet
Like,
wounds
they
to the head.
violated.
Seven in his head.
How many bullet
Overkill.
wounds do you need in the head
Overkill.
to kill a motherfucker?
That's
Come
All
on.
his
overkill.
body, seven in his head. So they pumped the four in the body like, well, fuck it.
Yeah, I feel like that's what
Already
it
dead
was. Just
after
like,
the
fuck
seven in his
you, and
head.
we're gonna just empty some
And
more
left.
show.
See, I'm morbid enough to really like be thinking about like, okay, so how did y'all do that? Like, how did y'all go about that? Was it all at the same time? Did his body go do that, or did you guys like do that? Was it post mortem, or what was which one? Like, I'm morbid enough to go there and think about
Go
that
to the
stuff.
go
They
to
don't
the
give.
coke.
Well,
Go to
they
the
said it was 17 bullet shells, case found. So if that was the case, I feel like they was just shooting.
There's shooting.
Facts,
You shot
facts.
17 times and 11 still hit. Like, you shot 17 times and 11 hit him. Like,
Willie,
more than half hit him.
don't be dry snitching, Willie. We on live, man.
Well, that's what I was saying. That people probably kill for $20, so 50,000, man.
Like I
Listen.
said, there's women who lost their lives because they didn't give their numbers to a nigga at a party.
Mm-hmm.
People get killed for it.
Yeah,
No.
Listen, that would be a whole
You
different
step
show.
on my
I'm about to
shoe, you
start
dead.
writing again. I'm about to start writing again. Like, yes, that, the whole like.
But
If there's zombie,
I
okay.
think the overkill goes back to what I said earlier. Dino's a big nigga. And he said, if you shoot me, you have to kill me because I'm coming for you. So they wanted to make sure he was dead.
Word, he might get up.
I won't say amateur. I think usually when somebody is shot that many times, when it's obvious the
The
first two
bullets to the
bullets kill
body
them,
was like, let's make sure
that's
this nigga
Listen,
overkill. It's like personal. Like, pretty much saying "fuck you" even more. I'm gonna shoot you some more. That's overkill. That's always a personal thing.
they was trying to
That's
make sure he
personal.
didn't kick out.
Mm.
They was trying to make sure he didn't kick out of that shit. That's it. But so $400,000 worth of cocaine in a warehouse.
I forgot that we was doing a show about
Bruno, Bruno, Dino, Dino San Martino. Holy shit, we gotta do one. Yeah, I'm fucking up. Dino, Bravo
Mm-hmm.
is caught on surveillance. Now, maybe y'all can help me out with this one here, because they lost me. Like, I understand, like the language barrier, but y'all can help me out. I could have sworn, not even could have sworn. You can go back and watch this man that was telling this tale about how Dino was caught on surveillance. He said that he was caught on surveillance with people who were, quote, on investigation.
Yep.
Now, my question is,
Probably
was
my
that
aunt.
a language barrier because he doesn't really know English, and so he was trying to say under investigation,
Probably
or
so.
was he saying they were being investigated, or they were on the investigation?
I'm gonna assume he meant that they were probably on the watch by
Mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
the drug enforcement. I feel like that's what it was. That at least he was trying to say, because he was saying they
No.
staked out for a
How
few
about
days.
those are
More on
lies?
that later. More on
They
that
said
later.
like it
How
was
about
3 days. They
no?
said they staked out. They were getting pictures before. They said 3 days later. That's when they confiscated everything. So they were watching. So I feel like they were probably watching, and Dino kind of got caught in that. Like, oh, you're at the house. Don't I always wonder like when you are being investigated and you have a warehouse, why you're not more aware that you're being watched? Because I feel like there's never nothing around warehouses like that. It's just a warehouse. So it's like, how do you not even know you're being watched and being taken pictures
I
of?
got a question I asked earlier because one thing I heard he started inside the underlife before he left WWE, but the Dark Side of the Ring tried to make it seem like, well, this is after the fact. Because they try to make it seem like he talked to people in the locker room before he left about, like, I'm into the illegal cigarette business and blah, blah, blah,
Well, I don't know.
Hmm.
For
Okay.
disclaimer,
Thank you.
but
He said, well,
I
if you
can.
tell me something.
Well, no. But I can probably shed light on some shit here. Probably shed light on some shit here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what better market is there besides Native Americans to have a monopoly on? If you're a professional wrestler, professional wrestlers. So who are you gonna tell about your connections? Professional wrestlers. Who are you gonna tell about your criminal involvement? Probably the one Canadian nigga that you trust from your hometown.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, cigarettes is probably not the only thing flushing through that motherfucker, as we know in the late 80s.
No.
All right?
I would tell Rick Martel if I had something going on.
I'm just saying, he'd
Would
probably
you?
give him. Dino's probably the plug in the locker room.
Rick,
I don't want to put that out there,
you've
but
been
like,
there since '92, and Rick said, I ain't doing your show.
come on now, like
Rick
act like
Martel is solid.
they try to put all that shit on Vince McMahon. Like Vince McMahon was the one in the back, like giving out drugs and shit. No, motherfucker, he wasn't there. It was y'all niggas. Y'all niggas was going to whatever doctors was subscribing y'all with, and then supplying your homies and shit.
It was the doctor that was backstage. Vince had a doctor backstage that was helping
Yeah,
niggas out.
in every town. Yeah,
No, it was their traveling doctor. It was to the point where once the shit was starting to come through the wire, like Vince was about to get caught, they stopped making this nigga travel with them. More on that later.
But you're not gonna tell me that these niggas wasn't pushing them damn selves, especially if you got mob ties, nigga. And
Nah.
you in deep like
I
this.
mean, but his yeah, his mob ties came in the form of cigarettes,
But
Because
I'm
he
just
was pushing
saying.
them $5 pack of cigarettes.
Listen, I'm just saying. Why stop there? Why stop there?
That's what he didn't stop there. That's what happened at the warehouse.
Ah. So my opinion on this warehouse thing, I'm kind of conflicted on it because the cops. All right, I don't know if we said this yet. The cops came and raided this place when the cocaine was set to be picked up.
On the
The
third
cocaine
day.
apparently sat there for 3 days, like Jesus slept. On the third day, the cops rose. On the third day,
Oh my god.
It slapped the cuffs on everybody. It took him to Pelican Bay. And you know what? And my thing about this is it's okay. And then shortly after that, Dino's found freaking murdered in his fucking home. So my thing is this: was and Dino was found quoted as saying you shouldn't have left it there too long. He was da, 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 da. He was blaming the folks for leaving it there so long.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, either way, that looks bad on you, man. That looked bad on you. Whether they came to get it one, day two, day three. The fact that police was there, and the
And this
fact
is
that they was
considered your warehouse.
in your warehouse, and they was ready. Now, then you could take the other side there, like, okay, he didn't know. Maybe he didn't know. Maybe he didn't know, whatever. But on the other side, if dudes is looking at you like you a snitch, that's reason to put 7 bullets and 4 in you.
Mm-hmm.
It was also when again they was trying to explain that the other guys was under investigation. If Dino's involved, that means Dino's also in. And you know, they was just like, oh, they were under investigation
This
on
goes to understand theories,
the
unless
way the guy said it. But then it says if this is Dino's warehouse, you had to have some kind of information on Dino as well. Before that, you know, he was the 3 days when they decided to come, there had to be some kind of information because this was his warehouse. There's no way you were supposedly being watched, and usually with these type of things they watch long enough to be able to do what they need to do to confiscate and get people, everybody they can lock up. So you're telling me there was no that's the thing, either he was like, I don't want to say he was working with them, because I feel like that he probably would have probably lost life a lot sooner, like realistically, if he was working with them. But I just find it hard to believe he didn't know he was being watched. That's your warehouse. You should know your area. You should know if there's nothing there. That to me was very strange, because it was just like you didn't know you was being watched. They were taking pictures of you at your warehouse. This is not like the homie's warehouse and you meeting the homie there and you might not be aware. This is your warehouse. You're telling me you're not aware of your surroundings when you come in. There's no protocol you guys would follow
You
to
know,
make sure there's nobody there before there's any exchanging happening. Like,
arrogance can do that to you, though. Arrogance can do that to you, though. You know, you walking around here like he's that big
let
bad
me
motherfucker.
answer the question that will
How,
come out.
how do other people?
Nine months,
You know, wait. Actually, that actually, I'm glad he brought that up. I'm glad. Thank
nine
you,
months
baby.
prior to Dino's death,
Hold
a
up.
mob accountant died in his area. I believe
Yeah,
6 months after
two
that,
other people died within 2 months of this man.
6 months after that, it was
The
another
same
mob
shit.
affiliated man that was murdered. So pretty much how it plays a role is they're all mob hits and they're
They
all
all
in the same
they all
area.
died. They all died off the same shit. That's why I'm inclined to believe the mob theory. They all died off the same shit within like 2 months of each other.
Hmm.
Cigarette contraband and shit
This
like
is
that.
why I say Scooby
Same,
Doo, because
in the
all
same
right,
way.
Rick, whatever your last name is, this is not about
Hold up.
Velveteen. You want
Hold up.
Velveteen? Go on the internet. We seen his
Goddamn.
penis, half of it. Yes, maybe he sent this to 16-year-old girls. It's not about it. It's about Dino. Now get the fuck out of here. Damn.
All right. I hope that'll
Look at
suffice.
it says we are talking about Dino Bravo. You want to hear about
Uh,
Velveteen? Look for a show that's talking about Velvet fucking Teen.
and that is about as much as we are going to acknowledge Velveteen Dream for now.
And
More
so
on this
the
later.
two guys, it was mob affiliated. So that's how they died. And they died, like I said, within 9 months prior to Dino's death. Now, what was you saying? Sexy Decoy?
Nah, I was just saying, like, that kind of ties back into the original. See, I'm of the mindset. Look, I think it had more so to do with the cigarettes than it did the cocaine.
Mm.
Because and if there was a cocaine, I believe that for the cocaine, I feel like he was more in jeopardy of going to jail, which is why he may have cooperated, in which may have led to that bust. And this is may have been the reason that he felt like his life was in danger, because he was telling people that was close to him that his life was in danger. So I can only imagine if you felt your life was in danger is because you know you did some shit you wasn't supposed to do. So
Mm.
so my instincts are more my instincts are more likely to believe that the cocaine thing,
Not really.
you know, I'm more inclined to believe that the cocaine. What up? I'm more inclined to believe that the
Sub crew.
cocaine theory would result more in him doing jail time, which would
That's what
result more in him saying, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that," and snitch or whatever. But the cigarette thing, the way that they did it, because we didn't really talk about the circumstances behind like how like the whole crime scene and everything. We talked about how he was like, found dead in his armchair with the bullet wounds, but we did not acknowledge the fact that there was no forced entry, no signs of defense, and no, and he was watching the fucking hockey game, which he told friends before that he would be watching the hockey game. So my
Hold
thing
on.
is,
He also called Jacques Rougeau the night of the
exactly,
murder and said, "Come see me, Jacques." Jacques said, "I can't see you right now. Rah, rah, rah. I'll see you in the morning."
yeah, he
Um,
told that because he knew something was fucked up.
the only sign that indicated that something happened was a window being struck by a bullet. That
Now,
is
help me with this one. Help me
all
with that
you need.
because was the window on that second floor
Just like,
or
did
the
they go
first floor?
upstairs and bust out the window? Like,
Was the
because I
window on
know
the
what
second
picture you're
floor?
talking about.
Because if that's the case, then I know my instincts are right because that's where they found the fucking the money and the fucking and the cigarettes and shit that was missing from that truck.
Hmm.
So I don't know how that correlates, but it just make it like it's so circumstantial to me. It makes sense, That's what
And
my
now
gut.
that we're here, I'm gonna bring it to Katrina because
Yeah,
she mentioned like I'm not gonna let anybody stand over me. There's
thank
another
God.
thing, the Behind the Titantron series on YouTube. He mentioned how it was stated that the killers probably it was someone he knew. Hi Denise, it was someone he knew, and that they like got up and probably excused themselves to go to the bathroom, and then killed them. They also made it seem like the killer. Apology accepted. They also made it seem like they also seem like the
Look at him
killer.
being all helpful now. Rich, you all right, Rich? You all right?
They also said that, "Hi, Abraham." I always say hi to my friends in the same voice and the same cadence every single time. But yeah, they also said that the killer made it seem like it was two people there. So there's also speculation of it just being one guy, but just overkill, killing him with two guns, and that's probably why it was seven to the head, four to the body, because he
Yeah, I
left both
definitely think he
there.
knew the person because, like,
No,
usually if
yes.
you're just doing a job, you do your job and you get out. But anytime anybody, just if you ever even look at any crime shows when somebody's murdered that way and it's like that
They
much,
call it a crime of passion.
that's angry, like angry. That's personal. It's personal to you. Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna like make sure your ass ain't get back up type of like situation. It's just like
Out of this move.
it wasn't. That's why I hate it when they kept trying to say, "Oh, the natives might have paid somebody." Like, don't fucking blame the natives. Like, oh, shouldn't blame people of color. Stop doing that, okay? Like,
No,
they
they
didn't.
was blaming the natives because he was doing the cigarette stuff with him.
No, but I know, but it was like so they got time to get off the reservation and do all this other stuff when they can't do nothing else. Like, let's not be dumb now, okay? Because it was like they literally are on the reservation to this day. They are still on the reservation.
Let's not
What
be
are they
naive.
doing?
Let's
What?
not be. They also said that they could have contracted the bikers to do it.
And
Wait.
you
I don't
think they
know
wouldn't
why.
have told the natives? Really? That's what he said. I was like, you telling me they wouldn't have told? Oh, the natives did. They didn't.
First of
They
all,
might have been feeling a way about something, but they, even if killings happened on the reservation, it is so fucking tight. But they didn't do that. I
exactly.
firmly
I
believe
was
the
say
natives.
that
They didn't
the
do
way those
that. Y'all
reservations
was just
work,
trying so hard to blame people of color. We're gonna blame the people of color. The natives did
I
this.
wish
They did.
I was like this
This is
part
why
of
I said
me. This
like
might be
Scooby Doo. They
controversial.
who
This
did
might
it.
be a controversial take here, but if y'all hear what I mean by this, part of me admires the way the Native Americans get out in this motherfucker because
Oh
these
no,
motherfuckers.
I know, but it's like you telling me they got time to do all this off the reservation and then it lead back to them. You know how quick they would
Wait,
have arrested. This case would have been
Nah,
solved.
that's why you get someone else to do it and tell them make it look like a mob
Here's
hit.
the thing. Here's the
Because what
thing.
they said was it was too messy to be the mafia. The
Here's
mafia
the
is not
thing
that
though.
messy.
Here's the thing though. Here's the thing about that. Like, one, I don't see the bikers listening to fucking the natives. I don't care if you got paid. I
But
don't
they
see that.
get their cigarettes from you.
No, because they got the cigarettes from Dino. That's the second point. You got your cigarettes from Dino was the guy that you trusted. So
But
you're
if
not
they're
gonna hit
killing
it.
the guy that they get their cigarettes from, that means the Indians is probably like, we'll do cigarettes with you then, you know?
No. They trusted Dino because they revered him as a fucking superstar, and that's why he
But
was
if
doing
Dino's
things.
fucking up and keeping cigarettes and 50,000 in his closet, then you know Dino gotta go.
But that's the thing. That's what it wasn't that Dino took the thing. It went missing from a ship. Dino wasn't driving trucks and shit. It went missing. You know. So it was like. So that's why I'm able to see like, okay, if
Oh,
the
the
truck.
fact that they found it days later, and if you
But
went
that's
through
why
like day one, it should have been found day one when the cops were called.
But that's why I go back to the mob.
This goes back to the
Because
Montreal police though. Like
that's why I go back to the mob though, because in order for you to be the plug, you have to be the bridge. That the bridge has two ends. One end's a Native American. The other end is what? Your family, right? Your family is the one that supplies you. So now, say the truck goes missing or whatever, the truck, and then the contraband goes. Now the Native Americans, they just waiting on their shit, you know. But these guys, they're waiting on their money.
Oh, Ray Rougeau has a job now because Ray Rougeau is that man.
Oh, these guys over here, they're waiting on the money. Y'all waiting on the prize, they're waiting on the money. All right.
Well, look what
So
happened to Joe Pesci and Goodfellas. Look what happened to him.
thank
Mhm.
you, thank you, thank you. They Joe Pesci
Look
them.
what
They Joe
happened.
Pesci them.
Look what happened.
Thank you. They Joe Pesci them. They Joe Pesci Dino
What
Bravo.
was his name? Something DiSerrano. That was the guy that he
Oh
was
God.
playing, and that nigga went out crazy too. The murder was clean.
Oh, don't
Definitely
forget.
one of his.
They say the mob's not. They say the mob's not brutal like that. Don't
Yes,
forget they buried Joe Pesci alive with his little brother in Casino. They buried Joe
That
Pesci
that
alive with his little
that
brother.
is not what happened to the actual DiSerrano.
Who cares? That's what they
That's
showed.
they they I know you do not want to get that corny joke over. Whoever does, go ahead. So I was about to go off yet again.
So now,
Don't know why people play with me when I drink Hennessy. Like I'm not gonna scream on you on the live.
oh my gosh, where the fuck was? Oh yeah, they Joe Pesci them. So they
Nah,
fucking, so now they waiting
I
for the
point
money.
out
The
David
shipment goes missing. The shipment
and
goes.
David. I'll smack you straight up. Don't get smacked. Anyhow, the Joe Pesci joint was sensationalized. That's not actually what happened to the DiSerrano guy that they killed. Nobody knows what happened to the DiSerrano guy. He vanished. So the mafia you disappear. They still don't know. They still don't know. So whoever that is, out black on everybody in that fucking group. Stop playing with me. They still don't know where the DiSerrano guy is. Like they still don't know where fucking what is his name? They just did the Netflix movie on him too.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, that he just went missing.
The
And
the Teamsters guy. I don't know his name because I drank this cup of telly too fast. But they still don't know what happened to him.
that's what makes me feel like it definitely was the natives. I feel like
But
somebody.
that's what makes me feel like it maybe wasn't the mafia either. The mafia is very, very clean about it.
Oh,
Do you know
guys,
what it
you're missing the
disappeared?
point. You're missing the. You're missing it. You're missing it. You're missing it. It's not just the mafia. Why is he in the mafia?
It's uncle.
There's your passion.
Or it could have been the cocaine people that was
Yes,
passionate
Jimmy
about the cocaine.
Hoffa. That is his name. Thank you,
Jimmy
guys.
Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa.
I
Yes.
don't know why Nick Hoffa was coming in my head. I didn't want to say it. I knew that Nick was wrong.
Dude, you're my nephew, and you're now responsible for $50,000 of my money gone.
But the cocaine people wasn't his uncle.
That's why I'm not talking about the cocaine people. I'm talking about the cigarette people. That shipment that went missing in the truck, not the 400,000 in the warehouse.
Okay. Hi, George.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that his uncle had anything to do, but that's blood. You got roots in this shit, man. It means more to you.
It's only a
And then
time of
also will
passage
then
if the
ask
uncle
why
did
they
it
waited for the
himself.
wife and daughter to leave.
Yeah, see, that's merciful. That's merciful. They
Because
care about
yes, because a lot of times they'll just kill everybody. They'll just kill everybody. Why are we
unless
gonna wait?
it's
If I can
family.
get you now, they'll kill everybody, child included.
Unless it's family, because they got a code. They got a sick code of honor about them.
It's like
They
they knew
got a
the wife was gonna be gone. She didn't get back to midnight. It was like, like
No,
my
like,
mother
they
cried.
have
He
a
was
sense
like
of
alone.
yo, like
family.
midnight. What? Where
They
did
have a
Mother Ballet
they
at?
have a sick sense of family. Like, yo, we love you enough to kill you ourselves, but we'll also love you enough to make sure your wife and daughter aren't there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but we love you enough to make sure we blow your freaking brains out too, and make sure it's passionate. It's a
Oh,
whole bunch of crazy crap here.
hold on. I want to touch on it because I didn't touch on it. Right?
Mm,
Freaking the way his daughter speaks is like she remembers it vividly, and the girl was 6 when he died.
you damn right she does.
One.
She was very close to
Two.
him.
Yeah.
She said she went to his funeral and she carried a drawing she made of her family, which is her mother and her father, and she put it in his tomb. And she said when she got to the coffin, she didn't recognize him, but she seen his fingers, and she said, "That's daddy." And I tell you,
Mm-hmm.
that broke a bitch. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Mm-hmm. I felt that one too.
like I knew his fingers. He bit his nails down to his nub, and I was like,
Yeah, no. That one hit the heart. That one hit the heart. No lie. No lie.
mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Ugh.
So yeah, so now this cocaine deal. Like, okay, if you want, let's explore this possibility now. Because
Mm-hmm.
we done beat that mafia and cigarette thing into the ground, which is what I personally believe is more the rap. This is still open case, people. We're talking Dino Bravo here, but let's entertain this cocaine shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys think that um it? Do you think that it was negligence of Dino, or do you think Dino is a straight out snitch?
I don't know. Because when they said that after it went down, Dino was like, well, why would you guys wait till the third day of it being there? You should have came and got it on the first day, and so on and so forth. So Dino probably knew his warehouse was kind of hot.
Hmm.
He probably knew it was kind of hot, but he probably was like, you know what? Y'all could do it there, I guess.
Motherfucker, I'm all you need, baby. Michael should have made it.
But
Made it.
okay, hold on. It was a messy murder. Like I said, 7 to the head, 4 to the body. There was blood on the ceiling. It wasn't messy to the point where it was like he was sliced down the middle. But the daughter said she didn't recognize his face. That means his shit exploded.
Yeah, if you shoot somebody 7 times in the head, it will be mess.
His,
You shoot anybody 11
and
times,
with
there's gonna
mafia,
be some mess.
with mafia, especially the real mafia niggas, they show you they're killing you unless it's contracted. If it's contracted, that's the only way it's gonna be like that.
But they
Because
said it was
if
execution
it's like you
style.
said, if it's like we said the uncle, if the uncle is doing it himself, you're gonna see your killer.
But check it.
Especially how they talk about the Vic Coroni guy.
How can we dismiss that didn't happen? How do you not know that they just didn't? All right, no, sit right there and look
No,
that way.
because the remote was clutched in his hand. That means he had the remote in his hand when the first shot went in, and he squeezed
They
it.
could have told him to do anything. Hold that
So
just like
no,
this.
you're not
Put-
gonna. If someone's gonna kill you, you're not gonna be like, "Wait, let me grab my remote." No, he
Dude,
didn't know it
I'm
was.
telling you, like all I'm saying, you're in a vulnerable spot and motherfuckers roll up on you with shit. And now we don't heard him say, "Oh, you better freaking, you point a gun at me." Da, da. All right, we didn't just have a pistol. We had a machine gun too. So you're not gonna come on now. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do what you're told at that point, right? So if they tell him, "Yo,
Mm-hmm.
don't move,
Mm-hmm.
don't move a fucking muscle," pow. I can see that. I can see
Mm-hmm.
that. You know,
Yeah.
but we don't know. We don't know. My thing is about the cocaine though. Like that's the thing. You. I agree with you on the sense that he got mad at them for not coming when he told them to come.
Yeah.
That means you know your shit was hot, and you're gonna put your niggas in that line. So even if you're not a snitch, you was negligent.
Or by the way they made it seem like how the cocaine guys came up to him and said, "Oh, well, we'll cut you in on the cocaine if you cut us in on the cigarettes," trying to get money off of him. You probably, let it happen on purpose because he ain't really know them niggas and he ain't really fuck with them niggas.
I mean, according to that comment, I mean, it could have been that because they also said when they were saying the door, but they said his door was never locked.
Depending on who it is. The way he was killed was overkill. Overkill is always crime of passion.
Yep.
Overkill is always
Unless the
someone
person's a
who
complete
you.
psychopath, and that's not too often.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
That's
Or
why you
like
know it's
someone who
somebody
got a
he
lot of
knew.
anger off of
That's
him.
when it's something like that. That yeah, it is definitely that's personal. It's a personal
And
kill.
that's how you knew it was somebody he knew too. Because again, no forced entry, no indication of defense. Of
They did say that his door was always unlocked. So with that in mind,
they said that his door was.
when
Always,
they told me that, I was like, okay, well, if you're somebody who
but
never locks your door, you wouldn't have forced entry if you never locked your door.
But that's
But
what I'm saying. But
in
here's the thing.
regards to him not being prepared, I mean, but if you have people you telling people the day you died that you was like, the way that conversation sounded like he just like he knew something like that day.
well,
It was
according
just
to Bret Hart said that Dino was telling the boys. Bret Hart got a comment on anything in Canada.
right.
I'm about to say, I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
You know
I was gonna
every
let you
story,
go.
right? Every
I was
story
just
you
gonna let
just
you go. I
everybody
was,
just
The streets in
I was
Canada.
just
Bret
gonna let
Hart,
you
you
go.
just
I
do
didn't want to
it
say
for
nothing.
love.
I was
Backstage.
just gonna let you go. I didn't want to say nothing about Bret Hart having to say something. Of course, Bret Hart has something to say about
They were
this.
saying how he
You
was telling the
telling me
boys
people
that
love you that much behind the
Oh
scenes that they're gonna
God,
just tell you every life story to you.
yes,
Bret's
that's
too
what
deep.
people were
Only
saying.
because
Someone
he
said that the
definitely
Dino was
has like
telling
every. It's like, how do you know this too? You just know all the stories, huh? All the stories.
Oh, Jesus. Yo, shout out to Bret Hart for real,
My
for real.
cousin was shot in the eye, and I didn't notice that man in the coffin. Only way I noticed him is he had a mark under his eye, and that was like
Hmm.
so. It's like any headshot, they're just scrambling to get you together.
I'm honestly surprised they didn't close the casket.
I'm
I'm not.
surprised
I'm
that they had the
Well,
baby
guys, no,
put
because if you
the
get
open
shot
casket.
7 times in the face, your face has to look kind of fucked up. And like, I don't know if I
With a
would want my
machine
kid to see,
with a machine gun.
its parent, the other parent like that. When you're like, oh, I had to go off his hands.
Yeah.
Like that, like the fact that the daughter is like, oh, he had like he bit
Right
his nails
in
down
the
to the
streets,
bone,
yo.
and they would like the fact that that's what she associated. I mean, she probably didn't even realize how bad his face probably looked because she just said, oh, it didn't look like him. She was 6, so it's like she probably can't describe how we could if we was to see that now. I feel that that's like I don't know if I could have had his casket
It
probably
was
would
a
have been full.
pistol and it was a machine gun. That's what he was murdered with. And
Malcolm
it
X
was
style.
rather close. It was rather close range, so I can only imagine the damage that it did.
Yeah, like his face had to be like.
They said that the people
I'm
next door.
surprised they were able to count 7 bullet wounds if that was the case. Like, y'all didn't blow his head up the fuck that much. Like, damn. We know what happened to JFK off of 1. Shit, y'all talking about 7.
Yeah, like
Shit, more on that later.
if you ever seen
And
those
exactly. Then the
kids,
fact that they went
if
in with a
you
machine gun
ever
and
seen those
machine
kids,
guns.
it's just like your life changed when you see that man's head blow up on his wife.
Whew.
It's just
Yeah,
ooh.
more on that
She
And
later.
then she had to live
she
to see
handled
her
that
son
very
die.
well though. For that to happen like that by her, she handled it very like well enough. Because I would have like I don't know.
Listen, and she was standing next to fucking his successor while he got sworn in.
Listen, guys. I just speaking of this because we're on the topic. Like, and Harsh knows this. Like, it wasn't yesterday, the day before. You know, I watched this documentary. It wasn't a doc. It was an interview of the man that was assigned security to Jackie Kennedy and was standing beside the limo that day and days leading up. Crazy, crazy. More on that later. More on that later. That's crazy, crazy, crazy. You know what I'm proud about this episode, though? You know what I'm proud about this particular episode?
Our episode or Dino Bravo episode?
This Dino Bravo, this Dino Bravo that we're doing,
Okay.
this right here, this live thing. You know what I'm proud of?
I, and Katrina. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you, I, and Katrina. Yes. You know what I'm proud of?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to get my caps today.
No, because ain't nobody on this.
No
Trying to
one
see if
capped
there was
this
some
week.
cap. I'm trying to see if there was some. No, nobody was capping.
No one
No,
capped this week. I was
Yo,
proud of them.
like Jacques wasn't
nobody.
even capping. Jacques was
Listen,
like,
ladies
"Ooh,
and
that was
gentlemen,
a rough way
I
to
don't enjoy getting in
go."
my cap.
Yeah, well, I was like, well, damn, that's when he said that, I was like, really, bro?
It's
Like,
like,
all
"Ooh,
right.
that's a rough way to
It's like
go."
when you
I
don't know
said,
somebody, you
you
read
know
that
what
in
this
paper,
made
you
me
like, shit.
realize?
Woo,
This made me
that's
realize
tough.
It's a
how much
rough
I
way
That's
to
like,
respect
go.
Canadian wrestlers.
that's
I
literally
was
what it
like,
was. It
Jacques
was just like, he
Rougeau?
was like, he read this and didn't know who this guy was. It was like, whew, that sucks. Like, that's what that, like, that's what that reaction was. Like, he really just
That's
didn't
a
know who he
rough
was.
way
Just
to
like,
go.
whew.
Mind you,
Listen,
you are on the way
oh,
to see this guy, and that's where you go.
wait. But in his defense, like he said in the doc, he said we weren't close like that. Like, like he made that clear. He made it clear, like, yo, we weren't
Man.
like
Now
we
go see
weren't boys
tomorrow.
like
I'm not
that.
gonna
I
stop anything I'm
respected
doing.
him. He was
But
like, yo,
that
I
kind of part,
respected him. Huh?
that kind of leeway to like how Brett said he was telling people he was kind of fearful. Like you're calling Jacques Rougeau,
Right.
say, "Hey, Jacques Rougeau, come see me right away."
Yo, no, we're not talking about Bret Hart no more tonight. Yo, Bret Hart, no, fuck Bret Hart right now.
Sorry,
Yo,
I don't want you to get the caps. We're
Bret
not
Hart,
gonna
matter of
go.
fact, no, wait a minute. No, y'all ruined it. That's it.
No, no, we don't know if Brett is cap. We don't know if he's cap.
That's it. Bret Hart getting caps. I got caps for Bret. I got Dominican cap on Hart. Bret Hart, he get 1, 2 cap, 3 cap, 4. You only get 3 caps for Bret Hart. We ain't talking about Bret Hart tonight. Bret Hart always got something to say.
Am
Y'all
I
always
getting the
got
caps
something
for
to say.
mentioning Bret Hart again?
No. You don't get. I said Bret Hart gets caps because he always got something to say that don't
Me
involve him.
caps?
No, I didn't give you caps. I get Bret Hart caps. But no, that's it. But
Wait.
goddamn,
Oh, I said that is the most Canadian thing of this episode, Jacques. Oh.
Jesus. Nah, but that's the thing. Yo, Jacques Rougeau, he made it clear, like, yo, we weren't like boys like that.
You know?
I respected him when I worked with him and all that. But he even said, like, when he invited me over to his crib, he was like, it wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna come see you, but like, later, I'm gonna come when I'm not busy. I'm gonna go see you.
He said I was
You
gonna go
know,
over the next day, and someone said
shit.
your
Jacques,
your friend got it bad. It's like
he
what?
was like, oh, that's a rough way to go.
That's what you
That's
say
like
when you don't know a person and you really like, oh damn, like that's that type of reaction. Like you know the
laughing
person at
bullets.
all.
That's a rough way to go. I said,
Yo,
Joe.
matter of fact, nah, I feel him. I'm on that Jacques Rougeau energy because if he did go, he would have caught one in the neck.
Listen,
Yo, I'm just
yeah,
saying, man. Jacques
that
Rougeau. He's the one that started that fight. I'm 18 years old. I'm gonna go talk shit to this hockey player. He even yeah, I
no.
gotta give Jacques Rougeau credit. Jacques Rougeau, he's been the realest guy on Dark Side of the Ring that I've seen thus
Oh
far.
yeah,
Like
Jacques is gonna
he
give it to you.
even
Jacques is
said,
gonna give
like,
you no
yo,
frills.
my guy even said, yo, that hockey guy was about to beat my ass, yo.
He said when Vince started calling, I was like, yo, I wanted his spot. I wanted Dino's spot, and he wasn't gonna give it to me. So when Vince and Pat Patterson started calling me, and you know what's funny? Vince used Pat Patterson to get all the Canadians in because we all know Pat's Canadian. So he used Pat to get all the Canadians. Hey Pat, call up your Canadian friends and tell them we got money.
They need to do a Dark Side of the Ring on that motherfucker.
Oh, if they do a season 3, we might be getting Pat Patterson in the ball.
Yeah. And if anybody watching, if anybody watching, they got connections to Vice TV or whatever. Here's an idea from your boy Sexy D'coy to you. Dark Side of the Ring, the Ring Boys. Thank me later.
Dark Side of the Ring Boys. Hey,
Thank me later,
that
motherfuckers.
came out way worse than I thought
That
it
probably
was.
need a 2-part episode.
Dark Side of the Ring Boys
Lord,
is a rough way to go.
Yeah, yeah. One part Pat Patterson, the other part Velveteen. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are not.
Wait.
Yeah,
I have to say this. I have to say this on live so we can make sure. When you was claiming digs for when we go back and retroactively review season 1, you didn't pick Gino Hernandez.
so you want him?
All right, let's keep it moving. You need to give yourself a Dominican cap. Gino Hernandez was one of the best.
No, you can't. Yo, I picked the ones I wanted to do. You didn't pick the ones you don't want to do. So you want to do that? Say something. I said the ones I wanted to do.
That's a
You
good one.
remember Gino Hernandez?
I said the ones I wanted to do. You want to do Gino? Say it.
All right, so me and Katrina doing Gino Hernandez because my
All right,
God.
cool.
Katrina do with us too. Shut up. If I say me, it's you too. Anyhow, let's finish this up. Katrina got things to do.
Man, listen. Anyway, yeah. More on that later.
Another open case. The Montreal police would not answer when Doc Side of the Ring called them because the case is still open.
Or they know something and just go. Or I feel like it's not going to get solved. What up, Jay? I feel like it's not going to be solved. Honestly, it's going to be one of those cases that if it gets mentioned again in like 30 years,
it took them 3 days. It took them 3 days to find the cigarettes and the money.
they're not going
They
to solve
wasn't really trying to solve it.
it.
Somebody had the police under their thumb.
Which is why I even more feel like it definitely wasn't natives. Because them listening to the natives, okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah, I feel you.
You don't know the police in Montreal.
No.
All natives, no matter what part they're in, are always. I will say I will always say they're a bit worse than black people because they even they even less with how certain things are for them. Like, because at least we don't have to live in like a reservation or some shit. So, I don't think they were going to be listening.
They kind of got reparations for the shit that was pulled on them, kind of.
Yeah, but they still like in reservations.
They just tell us get over it. It happened 100 years ago.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they gave us a reservation.
I wouldn't be mad at that either. Like,
ladies and gentlemen, this has been dark. We're not gonna keep y'all too long before we get flagged in this motherfucker and start going off.
Don't want to get reported.
Listen.
It might be too much realness. Too much realness in the 2 days. What? We was Wednesday. We were on Wednesday, right?
Stupid.
It'd be too much realness for the week, you know.
Let's put it on YouTube. First of all, we're gonna get demonetized and hit because I already said ER on the N word today. Dummies.
Why is Owen Hart? Why is Owen Hart?
That's obvious of why it's last.
Say, whoa, put that back up.
What? They said, why does Owen Hart?
Last episode of the season, and guess who 3 is gonna be talking about it? Us 3.
Yeah, it's obvious why it's the last episode though. He was probably one of the most known of the season.
I think we
got cut off because we talked about 45. I think we got cut off because someone.
Yeah. So honestly, here's the thing. We talked about Dino tonight. Unfortunately, his death is more
remembered than his career.
Circumstances around his death seem to garner more interest than his actual in-ring career
in America. Because
in America, well,
people in Canada said Dino was my hero.
I'm speaking as an American. It's unfortunate. He could have been. Who knows what he could have been? He could have been the other Hulk Hogan, I guess, in another world, right? Like if he was so in Canada, I wish they would have pulled the trigger on that match and at least gave him that payday, so that maybe some of these things could have been avoided. Maybe
they did an episode.
Season 1. Don't worry, we got it.
Wasn't that the first episode of season 1?
Yo, Wiki, we got you. Just remember,
it's coming. Season 1, we're doing season 1. Don't worry.
And you know what's funny? They didn't even dig deep on the vampire. Wait till that episode. That might be a long one.
They just talked about how I didn't pick Gino. They talk about how I didn't pick Gino. I'm gonna tell you why I didn't pick Gino, right? Because there's only 5 episodes this season, and I picked the 2 episodes without trying to fucking bogart the whole shit that I felt like were the more compelling to me. And the Von Erichs was one of those.
The Von
The
Erichs.
Von Erichs was one of those. So we will be more on that one later.
More
More on
Von Erichs.
that one. So we're not gonna drag this. Motherfuckers got shit to do. We appreciate y'all for coming out to this, listening to this Dino Bravo talk. Anything y'all ladies want to add before we get the fuck?
Anything you wanna add?
I mean, literally, we watched the episode and we're still just like, well, we think this
It's a
person
Scooby
may
Doo
have
episode.
done it.
We
At least
didn't
the
know,
Scooby Doo,
no one
though,
knew
you
what the
pulled the
mask
mask
is.
off the guy's face and it's the guy you probably thought it was. But like this one, it's like, well, it could be this. It's
Mhm.
probably this, but I really feel like this is going to be the case. It's never going to be solved. I really feel that.
I don't
Like,
think
I
they're
would
gonna
truly be
solve it.
surprised if all of a sudden they'd be like, oh, well, by the way, there's some leadway into this murder investigation. I don't think they're even
What
looking.
that is.
The file's probably sitting in some dusty
This is
file
not.
cabinet somewhere. Like, they probably not even, like, they probably didn't even computerize the documents on it yet. It's probably just sitting in a file cabinet somewhere. I don't think they're going to solve it, honestly.
What story? What dark side is that? That he fucked up his money and forget it. Let me not say anything about Otomori.
There's a dark side to that. There's a dark side to that. You know, there's a
Listen,
dark side.
listen.
All
What
right, ladies
I'm
and
gonna say
gentlemen,
is,
thank you. But before we get out of here,
you hate
very,
about
very, very important,
black sick.
very, very
I don't
important.
even
You
think
guys
you
must
think you get to
know
shut
this,
up.
know
You
this, know
gotta
this, know this.
you get
No,
to
this is
listen.
coming to you on Tuesday. This is will be the NWO specialty coming at you live.
Never got my
UPR.
last name
We're
with this
going to be
asshole.
doing
I
this.
don't even want to
We're
listen
going
anymore.
NWO. We're going black and white. We're going black and red. We're going black and silver. We're going WWE. We're going to talk about the whole legacy that is the New World Order, NWO, from its inception to its demise. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be your boy Sexy D'coy along with Hearts. Please feel free to join this. This will be
You're
a
telling me
major
you
episode.
know. Hopefully we get someone backstage
New
that don't
World
go into
Order.
business for their fucking selves and I gotta curse at them.
What are you
Hopefully.
talking about? I'm doing that.
You doing backstage?
Yeah, that's me.
Nice. No,
New
I'm
World
saying
Order.
for our NWO show. Hopefully we get someone backstage that don't go into business for themselves.
No. We're doing backstage. Backstage review brought to you by the following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order. You guys don't gotta worry about no bullshit. The New World Order got it under control. The outsiders are in charge of the show. So Tuesday, tune in. Your boy Sexy D'coy, along with Hearts, as you know it. That's Katrina the Great. She's always here holding down this dark side of the ring. She's the reason why we here doing this dark side of the ring thing.
Here's the
Give it
thing.
up,
Next
ladies
week,
and gentlemen.
next
Get
week
up,
is
get up,
that
get up, get up, get up,
Dr.
get
What
up.
is it, Dr. Schultz? That's the nigga that smacked up the man that said wrestling is fake. He said, Shh, that's fake, nigga. So,
Word.
nine times
So
out of
listen.
10, ain't nobody gonna call anything on it, and you'll probably see familiar faces again next week as well.
Yeah. So yeah, because if nobody wants to do Dr. Schultz, y'all don't think
Everybody only
Dr.
wants
Schultz
to do the fun episodes. No one wants to
will
do
be
the
out
real fun episodes because this was a good
there
ass
we go.
episode.
Here we
It
go.
was.
It's
Here
you
we
know
go.
what? This ended like how you ever watched the movie Black Christmas, the original one, not the bum ass remake, but the original one, and it ends with the phone ringing after they thought they got the murderer and the bitch is in the bed and the nigga's still in the attic calling the house like, hey, pick up, it's Billy. This is how this
Mhm,
episode
mhm,
ended. Because it was just like, yo,
mhm,
the killers is still out there.
Yep.
If they didn't
mhm.
die, it's been 92. They was old then. But you know,
So this is Dino Bravo. Wrap up Tuesday. We got NWO next Friday. We got Dr. Schultz smacking the dude upside the head.
and there's
Y'all
a
tune in.
SmackDown review tomorrow, I guess. There's a
There's
Raw
other
review
things going
Monday.
on during the week that I'm not privy to right now, but they'll be sure to let y'all know about it. We will do a SmackDown is coming. For everybody that
Now
watched
you
SmackDown
right,
tonight,
that's someone
apparently
going
Vince
into
McMahon
business
was
for
on
themselves.
television. Apparently
Because
Vince McMahon
when
was
they
on
said they
television.
cover my face, and when you cover my face, it's a problem.
Apparently Vince McMahon was on television tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So we gotta tap into that apparently. So we're gonna see what's
What? He
going
was
on
on
with that.
television for Triple H's day?
No, I said Vince McMahon was on television. I didn't say nothing about Triple H. I said
That's
Vince
what I
McMahon
said.
was
It's
on
Triple H day
television.
today. Today is the Triple H
I don't
25th
care.
celebration day.
I don't care if it was Triple H's day or the Brooklyn Brawlers day. Vince McMahon was on television
No,
today. I
they
gotta
fired
check it out.
They did Brooklyn
I
Brawler.
don't care.
He spent a career losing for them niggas. They said you fired. Bye.
As long as Vince McMahon's on television, you can't be doing too much wrong. So you know what? Listen,
I'm not gonna lie.
I am
Yeah.
here for it. I'm gonna tap
Niggas
into
can't do shit
SmackDown.
for me.
Y'all tap in tomorrow.
I
See
wanna
what
look
they say
see
about it. Tuesday
Brian.
NWO. Next Friday is more Dark Side of the Ring. This is Katrina. This is Hahrts. Your boy Sexy D'coy. We getting out of here now.